the chicken!
Sunday afternoon at Ginny's means one thing.
You gotta knock him out at the last round, kid!
Bingo.
Round 15!
But it's not like your grandma's bingo night. Oh, no.
Poop, right there!
This is a little flavor of Texas.
Let him go!
And Texas is full of it.
Cock-a-doodle right there will do.
Growing up working in the bars of South Boston, I learned one thing. Sit down with a stranger and a couple of cocktails, and the whole world opens up. I'm Jack Maxwell. I'm in search of the world's most interesting drinks and the people who drink them. That's why they call me the Booze Traveler. Chicken bingo.
Poop away!
It's a family affair. Bring the kids, feed the chickens, drink a couple of beers, and wait for a hen to crap on a table.
Ah, I got my finger! She got my finger! At least you can do is poop!
Yeah, she's prepping herself.
Look at the bum. The bum is moving.
You know, the retroactive back and forth, you know what's happening.
Oh, come on! Are you kidding me?
The Little Longhorn Saloon is a classic honky-tonk that opened on the north end of Austin in 1963. It was like a lot of other dive bars, except it was in Austin. And back then, this town was the center of cool in Texas. Of course, most Texans thought cool was weird. Over the years, as the city grew and the economy boomed, weird little dives like the Longhorn struggled to make it. Not too long ago, this place nearly went under.
How about a cold drink?
So, how'd they survive? Well, it's a feel-good story about how chicken saved the Little Longhorn. A tale that could only be told in Texas. Steinbeck said that Texas is a state of mind. And while outsiders may question that mental state, Texans like their cowboy mentality. Pull yourself up by your rattlesnake bootstraps and saddle up. It's about independence. Don't fence me in, or tell me how to run my business. Come hella high water if you have a bright idea. Nobody's gonna stop you from making a small fortune off it. In the case of the Little Longhorn, that big idea was a big pile of That's better than the old church bingo, that's for sure. Terry Guyona has been at the Longhorn for over 20 years. First as an employee, and now she owns the place.
Well, did you invent this?
No.
Never heard of this.
No, my brother Dale Watson came up with the ideal, and it's like this, it'll never last, and here we are today.
How many years later?
Almost 20.
Really?
You see, back when the Longhorn, like so many other mom-and-pop joints around the city, was about to be swallowed up by high-rises and condos, Dale Watson stepped in. He's a country singer out of Austin who cut his chops on this very stage. In the 90s, just as the city was taking off, so was Dale's career. He went on to become a big shot in the music scene. But when he heard this place was in trouble, he came with his guitar and an idea so out there, well, it just had to work.
Oh, that's weird. It doesn't get weirder than chicken bingo, Terry.
Exactly.
It's a little off.
It's not off.
Little
It's
bit.
awesome.
The locals loved it. And ever since, bingo night at Ginny's has packed them in. Oh, and by the way, these cold $3 beers, you've probably heard of them. Back then, it was a little-known beer from a small-time brewery in a tiny Texas town. That is until beer drinkers here in Austin got a taste of them.
In 1909, when the Czech and German settlers came in the area, they wanted a beer that matched kind of what they did, you know, in Germany.
That is Jimmy Marek, the brewmaster at Shiner Beer.
They got here, they tried to produce some beer, and they didn't do a very good job of it.
So how did a bunch of German cowboys and cotton farmers learn to make good beer? Well, they brought in a ringer.
Around 1913, they got a brewmaster called Cosma Spetzel. He started giving some tools to work with, knowing how to brew some beer, because they yearned for the old world taste.
Cosmos and about 2 million other Germans came to Texas between the 18 and 1930s. At that time, a married man could get 4,400 acres for just 30 bucks. You better believe if they weren't already hitched, those Germans got themselves a bride, and fast. And with these newlywed Germans came smoked sausages, spicy mustard, and some damn good beer. all the key ingredients in what eventually became Texas barbecue.
You know, it's such a nice, crisp beer, but it's very drinkable.
It's a great tasting beer, but not too many Texans actually drank it until the 1990s.
This is where it kind of started. The kids over here in the University of Texas took that beer as their beer.
Once UT students embraced their oldest state brew, well, Austin did too. And ever since, beer in Texas equals Shinerbach. I know because Texans like to brag about it. Of course, when it comes right down to it, they'll brag about anything.
So your number's handwritten on the back?
So a country singer brought a load of chicken to the Longhorn, which helped college students fall in love with a beer made by Germans desperate to get laid. Now, if that's not the American dream, I don't know what is.
Come on, Jenny, Jenny, come over here.
She did it. Did she do it? She did it.
He won! Kid's a winner! Yay! Woo! Wow! Holy is that exhausting?
The cowboy, an American icon, born in the open prairies of Texas. Which makes me wonder, why are we playing Mexican music?
Oh, look at that! Look at a bucket bronco! Oh!
Oh, right. Yeah, there were those 150 years when Texas was part of Spain and then Mexico. And those cowboys, they used to be called charros.
This is a Mexican rodeo, San Antonio, Texas style.
80 miles south of Austin is San Antonio, a real Tex-Mex town. A mix of Spanish colonial and true Texas flavor. It was the largest and certainly the most important town in Spanish Texas, centered around an old Spanish mission called the Alamo. Remember that. Now it's home to the largest Mexican rodeo venue in Texas.
I've been at rodeos, but not a Mexican one. Okay. So this is really cool.
The Mexican rodeo, or charreera, started when the Spanish vaqueros came over to set up ranches. They needed to teach the locals how to lasso cattle, ride horses, and of course, dance with them, I guess. Hey, it gets lonely deep in the heart of Texas. Chances are, if you're ballroom dancing with your bronco, you've probably had a few micheladas, the unofficial drink of the charreera. And word around the rodeo is that Juan Sotelo and his wife make the meanest michelada this side of the Rio Grande. He and Sasha started out selling micheladas at a convenience store along the Mexican border.
We have 3 micheladas, baby, please. Sure.
Wow, what's in it? Sasha tinkered with her family's recipe until she came up with the perfect combo. Tomato juice, Mexican key lime, celery salt, Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, and most importantly, hey, sorry, it's a secret. Today, their secret sauce is sold all over Texas.
Good thing is it may be mixed with vodka, tequila, gin, soda water.
Since we're at a traditional Mexican rodeo, we're doing it the old school way, with a cold beer.
Jack, it's my friend Mario.
Hey, Mario,
Jack.
Nice to meet you. How you doing, brother?
Mario Duran is a 5th-generation charro, and his pop is the president of the Asociación de Charros de San Antonio. But for me, Mario's the man, because he's got the beer.
The whole thing?
Whole thing.
Oh, I like it. How about a good charreada toast? Is there such a thing?
A una buena charreada y una buena bebida.
Fantastic. To that. Oh, that's so good. What a perfect mix.
So many flavors packed into one glass.
I just noticed that. Why are you carrying a gun? And you're drinking.
Right.
All right. I just noticed that right now when you pointed it out. Why are you carrying a gun?
There you go, finally, a beer-drinking, gun-toting Texas cowboy.
Who are you gonna shoot? And you're drinking.
Actually, Mario here is called the charro. That's the Mexican version of the American classic. Juan here made the mean micheladas.
The charros were almost like a militia at one time. So they were allowed to carry arms because in Mexico there is no right to bear arms. So this was kind of a loophole around that at one time.
Deputized, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the posse.
Right.
Apparently, when they gathered up the posse in Old Mexico, they got a little boost before battle. They say the michelada comes from General Juan Augusto Michel. During the Mexican Revolution, he would stop by his favorite cantina with his men and order them beers with salt, lime, and hot sauce. He thought the drink would lift their spirits before battle, and it did. The Mexican revolutionaries kicked that dictatorship all the way to the curb. Today, micheladas get the charros fired up for a different battle.
The event we're about to look at right now, it's called the Paso de la Muerte.
Pass of death?
That
Death
is
pass?
correct.
What
Yeah,
is
your
it?
Spanish is pretty good. Yeah,
No,
that's exactly
así,
what it is, yeah.
gracias. Tú eres muy
I think it's the
simpático.
michelada that's helping me translate, but...
It's the michelada talking. I don't speak Spanish.
The Pass of Death, where a charro rides bareback while chasing a wild horse at full speed, then jumps from one to the other. Man, that's a stunt straight out of an old Western.
Okay, that's the guy, huh?
See how he's measuring up the horse? Oh, he did it pretty quickly there.
Oh, nice! Woo! Nice job, nice job. All right.
Is that something you'd like to try?
I can't even ride a pony.
It takes a few of these to want to do it, but yeah, it's...
No way, don't tell me they've had drinks and they're doing that.
Well, I can't officially tell you that, no. But I'm used to it.
It's the three amigos.
Yeah,
We'll all do it
absolutely,
together,
yeah,
okay? Watch out. Hey, where's those horses? Whether you're rustling cattle out on the range or keeping it weird in the heart of the capital, in Texas, it's all about tradition. You see, it was sometime around the 60s or 70s when Austin got weird, but in a good way. Good music, good film, good food. But it's not always easy keeping it weird because in Texas, well, money talks. So, how do you preserve that authentic Austin flavor? Well, you make weird profitable. You rake in some dough playing your music on the street, or you do whatever this guy's doing. They even have a museum dedicated to it. So when the sun goes down and the neon fires up, a brigade of bearded men make mad money in the bike biz.
You ever get tired of all that pedaling? You must be in great shape, man.
Oh, no, you definitely get into it.
You look like you're pretty hip. Are you a hipster?
You just ask people if they're hipsters.
Why, is that a bad thing? I don't know.
All right, so I don't know the score around here, but my friend, Ms. Betty Page, who goes by Kristen, actually, she's an Austin native, and she knows these granola-powered rickshaws make you feel like royalty when you're bar hopping around town.
You know these guys?
I know a lot of them.
He's a great guy.
He said that about you, too.
Don't let their just-out-of-bed look fool you. These guys can rake in $500 and burn 5,000 calories every night, giving rides to bar hoppers on 6th Street, which has a bit of a filthy nickname.
Well, why is it called Dirty Six?
That's where everybody throws up.
They have it so often they have a name for it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm sure it's a blast, but not exactly my cup of tea.
Band on the roof, people walking up and down.
Lots of live music.
Dirty Sixth used to be where Austin music legends made their mark. Now, it's where frat boys and bachelorettes pass out on the street and leave their stain. So if you're looking for something a little less Animal House, head to Rainy Street.
Rainy Street, oh.
Which is amazing.
Rainy Street is a little island of suburbia in the heart of the city. It was the last sleepy residential street in downtown Austin until 2004, when they rezoned it for bars and restaurants. With one condition: don't mess with the houses.
So it's really cool because when you're walking up and down the street, it feels like you're actually kind of at a block party.
The concept of bungalow-turned-bar district came from a former yoga instructor. After some success with bars in Houston, she bought 4 old bungalows on Rainy and started her little white picket empire.
So what's this? Welcome to Bangers. Ooh, sausages and beer.
104 beers on draft.
Let's go. Can we go in here?
Banger's Sausage House and Beer Garden has the largest tap wall in Austin, with more Texas-made beers than there are states in America.
Can I get you guys a drink and some recommendations?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is we have an unbelievable all-beef smoked hot dog. Mustard, some diced onions, maybe a little sauerkraut on there. We'll do a hops and grain pale dog for you, and then maybe a cider for the lady.
Rainy Street is a never-ending block party. Only here there are no neighbors to complain about the racket. Thanks to UT grads, musicians, and tech heads, is a lot of young people with some extra cash to spend on craft brews and homemade sausage. Out here, it's got the vibe of an old school backyard barbecue, but with a touch of sophistication.
You want to see a bar trick?
Present company excluded.
You got to hit them both and catch them. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa! I should have bet you a drink on that one.
I know. No chance I'm going to get this. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nice try! Nice try! That was great.
Sorry to interrupt, guys.
No.
I have some drinks for you. Here's your cider.
Anyone bringing a drink is never interrupting.
Bangers was started with one goal. Don't screw it up. Just do beer and sausage, but do it well. They get serious about their craft brews. They have a beer college at Bangers, and all waiters are Cicerone certified. That's like a wine sommelier for beer.
Cheers.
Thank you.
And in a town that's craft brew crazy, you practically need a PhD in brewing.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
So this is your smoked hot dog.
Smells so good.
Texans really love their tube-shaped meats.
Let's eat.
So Bangers cranks out 2,000 pounds of homemade sausages a week. Sure, they got your classic brats, but for the snooty foodies, they've also got sausages that have no right to use that name. Listen to this: vegan tempura eggplant and something called Doc Bulgogi.
Oh, And another thing about Austin, they got good food.
Oh, God.
I'm discovering that. Let's come up with a very Austin-like toast. Because you know this place way better than I do.
It's got to be weird because keep Austin weird.
Okay, there you go.
So, may your boots always point upward.
Doesn't that mean you're dead on your back, though?
Shoot, yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know, we have to work on it.
Yeah,
we'll have a couple more
gotta
beers
come back
and we'll
to
get
this.
back to you on that.
Ah, man.
Locals come to bungalows like Bangers as a refuge from downtown. But Kristen, she's heading back into the madness. It's time for her to go to work, and I get to tag along.
Hi, guys. Welcome to our pageant.
Kristen's the MC at the Dogwood Cafe's monthly pinup pageant.
Where are you from?
Going to brew right here in Austin, Texas, y'all.
Welcome to our pinup pageant.
Betty Page, Betty Grable, oh, Betty Boop. It's a bevy of Bettys at the Dogwood Cafe's monthly pinup pageant. And my friend Kristen is tonight's MC.
Where are you from? Going to brew right here in Austin, Texas, y'all.
Young men have been stashing pinup pictures under their beds for over 100 years. Well, why are you looking at me? But tonight, they're here to pay tribute to an authentic Austin institution.
How do pinup pageants, what do they have to do with your company and Austin?
The girl on our label right here, it's from one of the original posters of Deep Eddy Springs. It's the oldest spring-fed swimming pool in Texas.
Clayton Christopher and Chad Owler sponsor the pageant. They run a local distillery here in Austin called Deep Eddy. You see, back in the day, Deep Eddy was the only place in town where you'd see dames dressed like this. The River Eddy in the middle of downtown has turned into a resort and has been a landmark in Austin since the 1920s. So Chad and Clayton are cashing in on the Deep Eddy cachet.
So your name is a tribute to the city.
We wanted something that was Austin-centric.
It's a Texas historic landmark.
Right, the vodka's got a good label, makes a good cocktail. I'm sold. Of course, like a lot of Texans, these guys could sell leather to a steer.
Austin is a trendsetter. This is the perfect market to launch that kind of product.
Austinites are buying what these guys are selling, that's for sure. And Deep Eddy is blowing up. It's one of the fastest growing companies in Austin.
What's really unique, I think, about Austin, people in Austin want to see locals succeed.
I guess that sound means, well, it's time to get back to the pageant.
And the winner this evening for the Deep Eddy pinup pageant
is... 6th Street on a Friday night can be like a frat party, a circus, and a peep show all rolled into one. It's hard to imagine this was Austin's Skid Row back in the 1950s. Pawn shops, liquor stores, saloons. There was a little touch of the Wild West right here in the middle of downtown. But these days, you can still find some of that seedy past, so you might want to go when the sun rises. I love the idea of a speakeasy. Except it's gonna be hard to find this place. No address, just a red light. I don't see a red light anywhere. Oh, maybe? Nope, nothing in there. The old wild goose chase. The bar is called the Midnight Cowboy. It's one of those no sign, no advertising, you come find us kind of places. I'm in, if I can find it. Finally, a red light bulb. I think this is it. Or not. Doesn't look like it. These guys must have a strange love for keeping secrets. Those names can't be right. Colonel Bat Guano.
Hello, sir.
Oh, hey.
You have a reservation?
They have to have a reservation? But today it's so hot the trees are whistling for the dogs. Oh, look, I've learned to speak Texas. Is Bill here? Bill, help. Finally. Holy moly, is that difficult.
I got a table for us. Let's come on back.
Wow, this is wild.
Yeah, until 4 years ago, this was a brothel.
It was a brothel?
Yeah, a brothel. It was called Midnight Cowboy Oriental Modeling and Massage. It was a massage parlor.
Did you come here before it was your place?
Never been in the door, but the guy who delivered our refrigeration equipment before we opened walked in the door and said, "I got made a man in here."
Well, I want to say I got made a drink in here, so how about it?
Let's get that done.
Yeah?
Hey, Mike.
The Midnight Cowboy wasn't alone. Austin's warehouse district was once the red light district in the late 1800s. Back then, you'd walk into a saloon, pay a quarter for a beer, and dance with a lady for 50 cents. It was officially called the First Ward, but everyone knew it as Guy Town. Those Wild West days are long gone, except for some handlebar stashes. And this place is no longer the best little whorehouse in Texas, but they still promise a full-service experience. So they make it right at your table. Bill Norris and his bosses turned this dirty brothel into a craft cocktail lounge that serves some of the most innovative drinks in town.
We're gonna have a drink today made from a Texas Sotal.
From the plant?
From the plant.
The old desert spoons.
Yeah, but the Texas desert spoons are, they're smaller and harder than the Mexican version, and they don't have as much sugar, so it's like really hard to work with.
It may be tough to get the good stuff out of desert spoons, but the Pueblo people have been doing it for a long, long time. There are records of Soto-based drinks going back 9,000 years. Other local tribes made beer out of it 800 years ago. So, really, Bill and the guys at the Midnight Cowboy are just going retro with their booze. Ooh. Yo, that smells like tequila. It smells like silver.
A bit like tequila, a little bit of mezcal. It's got a little bit of that smokiness. There's only 100 bottles of this in existence.
It's smoky, grassy, sweet.
This stuff spent 12 or 15 years in the ground, growing out there. It kind of reminds me of the way, like, West Texas smells after it rains.
It tastes like West Texas smells
after
when it rains.
Yeah,
Desert
like desert rain.
You agree with that?
I do. I grew up in West Texas.
I'd never peddle booze by saying it smells like the Boston Harbor after a storm, but hey, I've never been to West Texas. Then again, after a couple of shots of Soto, I may want to go. Is this something that's now joining tequila and mezcal as a popular spirit from this area?
Very slowly.
Why? It's more complex than tequila.
I don't think people know it yet so much.
They do now. Texas is really, really, really big. You know, they should come up with a slogan about that. Anyway, it's a longer drive across the state from north to south than it is from Southie to South Carolina. And its biggest city, Houston, could fit 7 Bostons inside of it. With all those wide open spaces, driving here isn't just a culture, it's a religion. And this is the church.
Slab is slow, loud, and banging.
Well, it sure beats St. Mary of the Seven Sorrows. 1981 Eldorado Biarritz. A goddess on the grill, bejeweled interior, swangers on the rim, and the all-important fifth wheel on the back. Around Houston, they call this a slab car.
Slab is slow, loud, and banging.
And Piersum, well, he's a real player in the Houston hip-hop scene. And his slab, is legendary. Oh, it's a hot day. I could use a cold drink, man. And when you're cruising around town, this is the best way to cool down. Fast.
Hi, how are you?
It's a special kind of slushy. What do you recommend?
Frog juice is our best seller.
Frog juice?
Yes.
I want the Mexican sea breeze. Let me get a virgin peaches and cream. You know, I'm driving, so yeah, I gotta be responsible.
Wow. I can't believe you can drive through and order cocktails. I can't say no to a slushy that gets you sloshy. For Piasm and Langston Colin Wilkins, both Houston natives, drive-through cocktails are the norm. How is that legal?
For one, we don't use hard liquor. We use fermented wine. In Texas, you can't just sell hard liquor, but you
Out of a
can.
drive-through?
Yes.
Of course.
You're not supposed to.
But fermented wine is
fermented
fine.
wine
And it gives you the
is
same
fine.
effects. Huh? Now that's a loophole you can drive an El Dorado through. Because it's fermented, not distilled, it's technically not hard alcohol. But still, man, it gets the job done. Oh, and that impenetrable seal? Stop sign. That'll stop you from drinking it, right? Yes. With a little tape, diehard margarita nuts can still get their instant fix.
I like this car.
Oh, nice car. Look at that. Let's back off, Langston. Oh, go ahead. Do your thing.
So we're gonna go for a ride later when you get out?
I need to get a car like this. That's why I'm failing. It works wonders. It works wonders.
He was born to Mac.
Born to Mac. Wow. We've got cold margaritas, an even cooler ride. Man, it's time to take this party to... Wait, the parking lot? So is this a Houston thing, or is it all throughout Texas?
I think it's all throughout Texas. So you get an authentic Texas culture, something unique.
Okay, so it's not a gun-toting cowboy wrangling steers in a 10-gallon hat, but still, it's Texas. Oh, that's good. It just tastes like a slushy.
Yeah.
Like a wine slushy.
No, the margarita machine was made in Texas. So you get something unique to the state.
Sure, the happy hour frozen margarita is a favorite among suits and business types from Hermosa Beach to Hoboken. But it all started right here. In 1971, Dallas native Mario Martinez converted a soft cone ice cream machine into liquid gold. Now that's a Texas tale. Americans, by the way, drink 185,000 margaritas every hour. In a place where temperatures that dip below 95 are considered pleasant, that's an idea worth drinking to.
Goes down smooth.
Tastes like a Slurpee of white wine. Then again, a lot of good things are forged in the hellish furnace that is Southeast Texas.
We have our own unique hip-hop culture called screw.
Screw?
Screw. And now we call Houston Screwston in honor of the hip-hop culture here.
In the early 90s, DJ Screw introduced the world to a brand of hip-hop that had a slow, twisting tempo, like a screw. Guess he didn't have a power drill. If DJ Screw was the Thomas Edison of screw culture, then Langston here is its Charles Darwin. He's an honest-to-goodness doctor of hip-hop with a PhD from Indiana University.
Traditional hip-hop, the fast-paced, pulsating beats will not work here. You know, we'll pass out, you know. I mean, it's hot, you know. So the music is slow, we drive slow, you know. We speak in a slow twang.
And then the music talks about riding the slab and put you in the passenger seat while you're listening to the music so you can get a feel of it.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go to it. Houston's hip-hop culture has its roots across town in the South Side neighborhood. It's a tough place, but out of its streets came a strong, proud, colorful culture that influenced music around the world. The Ghetto Boys, Paul Wall, Chameleon Air, all Houston natives who started out in these streets and went on to become legends. And right in the shadow of downtown Houston, the Eighth Wonder took over an abandoned warehouse in an industrial area and turned it into a brewery that's paying tribute to one of their local heroes. Bun B.
How you doing, Jack?
How are you? Bun B is Houston's unofficial mayor, and he made his bones in the hip-hop duo UGK, the Underground Kings. How about a cold beer to start?
Yeah, we can do 2 brew GKs.
Can we do that? Now, he's rap royalty. He was even featured on Jay-Z's hit, Big Pimpin'.
Cheers, guys.
So Ryan Soroka and Aaron Corsi at Eighth Wonder Brewery have created a beer fit for an underground king.
We grew up listening to Houston hip-hop, UGK, Bun, and Pimp C. We got Swishahouse, we got Ghetto Boys, we've got DJ Screw, we got Slim Thug, Chameleonaire Paul, we got it all. This is just us, small tribute to an icon, really. We've been working on this recipe for a while, and we call it a candy apple ale.
It starts out not only very sweet, like tart apples, and then it still even finishes with apple.
It's kind of like if a candy apple and a beer had a love child.
You know, this is Texas. You know, candy apples and, you know, state fairs is something that people eat down here all the time. And you look at these beautiful red cars, this particular color of red we refer to in Houston as candy apple. And now you got the candy apple beer.
So how does it feel to have a beer named after you with a place like this?
Well,
That's pretty cool, right?
This is humbling, you know what I'm saying? These guys are very good at what they do, right? And, you know, they represent the city in a very real way.
The original eighth wonder of the world was the Astrodome, right? We'll raise one to the dome.
To the dome.
When it comes to their love for Houston, these guys will paint the town and the front porch.
We try to embody everything that is Houston. Houston is
like what? What do you think
Houston's the most diverse city in the country. There's actually more ethnicities, races, cultures, religions, countries represented here in Houston. It actually just surpassed New York City as the most diverse city in America.
And that's interesting.
Houston is full of flavor, and we like to put our flavor in what we do, beer. As the slabs are a way to express individuality, this is how we express our individuality.
I need a fresh one.
You can all go to hell. I'll go to Texas. That was Davy Crockett. He got it. Texas isn't for everyone. But if you've got the grit and no one else will have you, it's paradise. That's why this place is filled with the ultimate outlaws, pirates.
We're at 6th Street and Avenue B. A lot go on that corner on the weekends?
No, not
Nothing.
usually.
Zero. Never.
This is San Leon. It's a tiny 5-square-mile peninsula that juts out into Galveston Bay. I'm sure you've never heard of it. This place used to be a haven for pirates and outlaws. Of course, the galleons and pirates may have been replaced by golf carts and soccer moms, but they still like to party.
San Leon is a drinking community with a fishing problem, is basically that's the
A decade ago, Kelly Raylene had a crazy idea to open her own rum distillery. So, she moved here.
San Leon goes back to even times before it was the United States, and actually Jean Lafitte was rumored to have been here in the 1800s.
Famous pirate.
After a successful smuggling career in New Orleans, Lafitte helped Andrew Jackson defend the Big Easy from the Brits, then retired to a quiet life of piracy in Galveston Bay, setting up a stronghold here in San Leon. Like real estate and rum making, piracy is all about location, location, location. In Lafitte's day, this area was technically part of Spain, but since they were busy fighting the Mexican rebels, no one was minding the shop. Apparently, that's still the case.
This little, small, sleepy town, almost Hemingway-esque.
It is.
Not even a town. It's unincorporated.
Unincorporated.
So in an unincorporated area, you can do what you want.
Well, it's a lot easier and it doesn't cost as much money, you know. So that's kind of how it works, you know.
Yeah.
Without all those zoning laws, taxes, and nosy neighbors, Kelly was able to open a distillery/bar that Jean Lafitte would be honored to pillage.
Pirate, 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 skull and crossbones, the flag.
We're kind of into pirates, just a little bit.
I would say you're kind of into pirates. I love pirates. My favorite ride at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean. As a kid, my favorite stories were pirate stories. My favorite baseball team.
The Pirates.
The Boston Red Sox. I'm from Boston. What are you kidding me? Why are the Pirates? They stink.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome to put a cannon out there at happy hour, 5 o'clock, we light it off, and everybody knows it's happy hour at the Buccaneer Bar?
There's places across the street, though. Where would you shoot it?
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. That's Texas. Let's have a pirate drink.
Yeah, it's our signature cocktail. Well, the Raylene Talk Like a Pirate Rum Punch.
It's a classic grog, a heavy helping of white and dark rum, orange and pineapple juice, ginger ale, a splash of bitters and grenadine, and the little kick in the ass.
That'll hit the spot.
Ooh, that has a spice in it. That's not. Yeah.
Spiced rum, we use a little ginger ale and bitters.
It's refreshing. You can taste the fruitiness of it, the pineapple, the orange.
Balance.
So why rum for you?
How do you change the culture of a place that's known mostly for beer and whiskey?
You make good rum, for one thing. Our rum has sugarcane molasses and water and yeast, and that's it. And it's aged in a barrel. There's no color added to it. It makes really good rum, and it makes the kind of rum that we had in our country a couple hundred years ago that we don't anymore.
Just after the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, rum ruled the colonies. By 1770, 140 distilleries were churning out 5 million gallons every year. During Prohibition, Galveston Bay was a hot spot for rum runners. The rum making went underground and overseas, where it's a heck of a lot cheaper to make. Since then, we've surrendered our monopoly on rum making to the Caribbean and Latin America. But now, Kelly's bringing it all back home.
We are certified made in USA.
The only one in America.
We're the only rum right now certified made in USA. It doesn't just mean that you put it in a bottle here. It means you had to physically make it. So we're talking fermentation, distillation, aging, bottling, all that fun stuff. I have to buy American-made glass. I have to use American-made label. The ink's got to be American-made.
Why go through all that just to say made in USA? Does that mean anything anymore?
To a lot of people, no. To me, hell yeah, it does mean something. All right, all right.
Thanks to Raylene's, San Leon hasn't had this much rum running through it since the Beach Gang was bootlegging booze during Prohibition.
Hold on, there's no seatbelt.
It's a big business for a tiny town, but they're not even the biggest game around.
See, they're backing up to go and get some oysters.
Oysters are big here.
Oysters are huge.
You think Texas? You think cattle. But chances are, if you're eating oysters at a raw bar, they're from right here in Galveston Bay. This crusty old fisherman, well, that's Raz Halil. His family runs the world's largest oyster shipping company right out of San Leon. His mom and dad started the business 20 years ago, and today, Prestige Oysters pulls $20 million worth of these shuckers out of Texas waters every year.
My father was a very hard worker. He had never been on a boat before. He heard of work down here on the Gulf Coast on a boat, decided to come down, give it a try. He's learning essentially day by day. And once he got the chance, he really thrived.
So they weren't ranchers driving cattle. They were Albanians who came to wrangle oysters. They saw opportunity, and they grabbed it by the horns, so to speak.
How long does it take before it's full?
Well, we're on a really good reef, so it's not going to take long at all. I'd say about 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
That's it? To get a full thing of oysters? That's amazing. Here it comes. Oh, look at this oysters. Look at this oysters. Oysters for everyone.
But you know what goes great with oysters?
We're going to be fast friends. You bring cocktails with oysters. Oh, good stuff.
That's the Blue Agave Blanco, so basically kind of like a non-tequila tequila.
Actually, it's just like tequila, but Kelly can't call it that since it's not made in old Mexico. The name tequila is protected by Mexican law, and they will come after you. Like Scotch in Scotland or champagne in... Where's it made? Oh, yeah, Champagne.
Pour away. Right to the top, too. Nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh.
It's really smooth.
Smooth. Cheers.
Delicious.
It's oysters fresh right from the bay. San Leon. Oh, is that good? How about a shot? Ah.
Woo. Spot.
There's more where that came from.
Man, it's hotter than the hinges of hell here. Did I mention already that it's hot in Texas? 200 miles west of San Leon is the Texas Ski Ranch in the town of New Braunfels. Finally, some relief.
People are going to be in the water on inner tubes watching Jaws.
Watching Jaws. Hopefully scared for their lives.
Well, we got some divers that are going to be under them pulling on their feet, too.
Oh, that's a perfect recipe.
I've met back up with Bill Norris. Remember him? He and his buddies turned a brothel into a bar. And now they've got another wonderfully bad idea. A scary movie, a lake, extreme sports, and alcohol.
We do this all over the place to kind of create an immersive cinema experience. We'll show Goonies in a cave. We've done Shaun of the Dead in an abandoned mall, and we hired a bunch of actors to play zombies.
Bill's company is all about finding new places for Texans to drink. It all started with the Alamo Draft House. the first theater in Austin built for showing talkies and old westerns. Of course, in the 70s, they turned it into an adult theater. Those guys can't resist the House of Ill Repute. So they turned it into a movie theater that shows good films and sells good beers. Then they moved the show outdoors. Tonight, it's Jaws on the lake. They even made their own Jaws-inspired cocktail with the help of an invention straight out of Texas. Why not?
We're going to be having a frozen margarita with a little salt because sharks live in salt water, obviously. We're going to mix that with a little bit of blue curacao to turn it blue to give you that ocean water look.
Where's the blood for the shark attack?
Oh, the blood's coming. Don't worry about that. Basically, we're just going to go around this whole side right here.
Oh, look at that.
It's because people are sitting in the tubes watching the movie Jaws. We have a little life preserver to put right there. All right, here you go, bud.
This is it.
Shark tail right there.
Shark tail.
It's called the shark tail.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, that's sweet.
Sweet.
It's nice, though. I like it's the novelty of it.
Yeah, and
sometimes this fills the bill, right? When it's a really hot day.
You know, never forget that drinking should be fun.
And after the first half gallon or so, it starts to grow on you, really. It's a kitschy, cold, guilty pleasure. Like a whoopie pie for us New Englanders. It's not hoity-toity exactly, but it makes you feel like you're home and gives you a wicked sugar rush. I think I'm ready for that swim.
Put a couple of beers for the water.
All right, cheers.
Oh, that's nice and cold.
You know, when I took Teresa Giordano to the drive-in as a teenager, I was always thinking, why can't she be in a bikini and I have a cold beer? Now I'm living that dream. A little late because Bill's no Teresa, but he'll do for now.
So we got about 1,000 inner tubes, so we'll have about 1,000 people floating in the water out there tonight watching Jaws.
That's a great combination.
We're all about the safety.
Yeah, I can tell. What's next? Along with a ticket and a bathing suit, you need to sign a waiver to watch a movie here.
127 men for water, Chief. Only 63 came out. The guy ate the shark and rode back in the head.
It's like a lot of things in Texas. If you're willing to swim at your own risk,
Oh, shh. The movie's about to start.
come on in. The water's fine.